is up, YouTube? This is your boy Bearded Kingface, aka Essential, here with another reaction / review. This time joined by a soundtrack curated by WiLL Made It, Creed 2, the album. Let's get right into it. We first heard about this carefully curated album / soundtrack back in October when it was said that WiLL Made It is going to be at the helm, working with a few different soundtrack artists on this particular project. And just recently we learned about the whole star-studded list of people who will be on this soundtrack. We have Nas, Rick Ross, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Pharrell, Nicki Minaj, Swae, Slim Jxmmi, Quavo. I mean, the list just goes on. Lil Wayne, and I mean a bunch of artists that are coming off of having albums this year. This is definitely exciting, especially since WiLL Made It is a very well-known producer. Of course, he's been producing, at least in the mainstream, since about 2011. He's had a lot added to his discography in the last few years. I remember one of the first productions that I actually recall being linked to him was the track Summertime by The Game featuring Jelly Roll off of the documentary 2. I think I might bang the whole summertime. Of course, recently he also had 2 tracks fall and greatest off of Eminem's last album, Kamikaze. In recent reports, it's been said that his inspiration and his approach to doing and carefully curating this soundtrack is to make something people really haven't heard in a long time. So he wants everybody to know that soundtracks are back. These are something you can look forward to like we did back in the 90s, back in the 80s, etc. And he sequenced it based on the protagonist, Michael B. Jordan's events that go through on the film, including Stallone's, who is of course Rocky, as well being Michael B. Jordan character's trainer. Of course, Michael B. Jordan plays Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed, the person who was Rocky's friend and brutally was murdered in the ring 33 years ago by Ivan Drago. And of course, Ivan Drago, his son, is who Adonis is facing in this movie. So it's carrying a lot. Either way, this album is apparently carefully crafted in such a way that it will help you go through your lows, it'll help you maintain your highs, and be an overall good album if you either want to just vibe out or use it in the gym to train, because that's what this whole movie's about, training. I'm excited to hear this, so without further ado, let's get into the content. Alright, track number 1, it's called Amen, or the Pre-Fight Prayer, and this one's with Lil Wayne. Feels like Blade Runner right now, man. Like I'm in the 80s or something. Yeah. I can see this being a good start to a gym session.
Shout out to the pilots that died taking off. The crew right above, but I take the charge. They crying, even, third time the charm. Brenda's got a baby, I pray it's not my baby.
Little Brenda's got a baby reference. Shout out to Pop. Alright, that was a pretty dope intro to the album. Nice and smooth, kind of eased us into the soundtrack. Not heavy fighting music right away. That's why I said it's something to kind of get you started on your gym session, so it has that nice feel to it. And Lil Wayne provided a good verse. Nothing outstanding. I don't think he was trying to outmatch any of the bars he's thrown out previously, but it just fit the mood of this particular song. Track number 2, Do You Need Power? This is the walkout music, and this is with Bon Iver. That is smooth. Like that. The guitar, the bass. Woo! Somebody needs to rap over this.
I ain't nothing with such cautious time.
Saying a prayer right before a fight, before training, before the big fight. Oh man, Bon Iver creates a very nice atmosphere. That track was hella smooth. That was really dope. I like the way it sounded, man. It could serve some other purposes too, which I will not get into. I just got something in my eye. My eye's just twitching. Alright, track number 3, We Can Hit, or Round 1, with Crime Mob and Slim Jxmmi.
We can hit! We can hit!
Ah! Knew that drop was coming. It's got almost like that T.I. type flow. We can hit! We can hit! We can hit! We can hit! Ah!
Oh, you acting up! When somebody smack you up, just because he wanna be tough.
Shout out to MOP. Yo, that grew on me. Like when I first heard it and that repetitive hook, I know I don't like those kind of songs that have that kind of hook. I guess it's just because it really reminds me of the 2000s ringtone rap, which when I was in high school, I was just not about that at all. That drove me nuts. Like Soulja Boy, all those people, I just couldn't stand it. So it took me a second or minute to actually clue into the fact that this is the crime mob from that era. So this is the Little John taking over the South crunk era. It's that crime mob. I think they only had like 2 albums. There's probably like 5 or 6 members if I recall. There might be 2 women on the roster as well. That's why I got thrown off for a second. I'm like, crime mob is a woman? And then I realized, holy shit, it's the actual crime mob group from that time. So that's a throwback to reach out and ask for them to be on this album. I think that's pretty cool. Definitely a hype track. I'm gonna put that on my playlist for the gym. Track number 4, Kill 'Em With Success. This has Eearz, 2 Chainz, and Schoolboy Q. This roster is pretty nuts right now. I'm getting that 2 Chainz Mercy era vibe right now.
That slap, they say they want that slap. It's not so separately. They know I come with that like Cassius. I should have seen his damn face when I got big weight.
This part of the beat. Woo! Sounds like Schoolboy. A little different though.
Got success, needed more. They gon' ball like the Mavs. They gon' roll from the half.
2 Chainz.
With the head on coat. And tell me I will push your team back with the malice like the clips.
Woo! Shout out Pusha and Malice.
Hate me, you need balance a little bit.
Yo, that was a dope track. I like the beat, very subtle beat switch up towards the second half of each person's verse. It's sort of like the accompaniment or the orchestral music that's playing in the background. The strings kind of switch up a little bit. They get a little bit more anxious and suspense-filled. I thought that was dope. The only thing that threw me off a little bit is the Kill 'Em With Success repeated 4 times. I felt like if you're gonna repeat it that many times, at least that should be where the beat switches, because it does get a little bit kind of boring in the ear when you hear that 4 times and the beat going on in the background is just a loop. Nice verses from everyone. Definitely a wicked track to have for the gym as well. I'm really liking the way this album is shaping up right now. Okay, especially after coming off of the heels of doing my last review, which was Nasir the film, I'm really excited about this track. This is track number 5 called Check. Rick Ross featuring Nas. I hope Rick Ross is doing well, man. I hope he's healthy right now.
Yeah, you ain't standing on your word. You lose respect. Man up, check. Chest out, check. Owner the stick.
This is Stillmatic era.
This is like chess. Straight nothing attracts everything. The resurrection of a king. Man up, check. Chest out,
check.
Chin up,
check.
Discipline,
check. Check.
Cuban link swing like a leech from my neck. Make a mural on my face when I'm deceased with the best.
Woo!
Balenciaga socks.
My nigga let your nuts hang.
Let your nuts ache or let your nuts hang or let your nuts in. It's a little hard to tell. Like, should I make them ache? Should I let them hang, which they already do? Or am I letting them in? Like, what am I letting them in? I'm just confused at this point. That was good. Definitely a lot more laid back than the other songs, but I like how he brought the beat back to something a little bit more traditional in terms of hip hop. And you had Rick Ross and Nas on there. 2 great MCs. Rick Ross has a very, like, a rapper voice. It was great to hear Nas, great to hear Rick Ross together. I hope Rick Ross is doing well. This was a nice collaboration. Definitely not a track that I'm going to keep going back to and listening to all the time, but if it comes on in the sequence of this album, I'm definitely gonna let it play. It's a good song. Track number 6, Fate. This is Young Thug and Swae Lee. Young Thug. Vibes. So many fucking melodies in this song.
Hurry up and choose. She ain't over me yet. She ain't over. Fuck it. I ain't over her just yet.
Yes to the first part, no to the second. Swae Lee, man, I'm just thinking back to Astro World, Travis Scott's album, of course, and what he did on R.I.P. Screw. Oh my god, I just can't feel the love. Man, his melodies are sick, and Young Thug is a vet. Young Thug, I don't know what he does in terms of his consistency, because he isn't around for a long time. He kind of lost a little bit of the hype around him, and I believe he was in jail at one point as well, so that kind of just fucked up the momentum. But Young Thug started a lot of the flows that these rappers are carrying forward right now. Young Thug has mad flows and melodies, so he started out a lot of the shit. And of course he came after Lil Wayne, but Young Thug was supposed to be the guy that dethrones Lil Wayne once upon a time, but that didn't end up happening. Instead, we had this whole slew of other rappers come through. I love this song. I'm gonna listen to this on repeat. It just feels like such a great song to listen to, especially when you're driving. I'm gonna put this on and drive at night, man. Track number 7, featuring Ari Lennox and J. Cole, and it's called Shea Butter Baby. Y'all know that shea butter gets grainy when you heat that shit up and cool it down again?
Baby.
That's that KOD Cole right there.
I got a shot at you on the leash. Cop that trigger release. Woo! Take a sip of your holy is what I know. I'm a part of your flow now.
Yeah, man. Shea Butter Babies. Messing up those sheets, man. Staining shit. Well, we definitely know what kind of vibe that one was looking to capture. That seems like it's a love or a romantic moment somewhere between the protagonist and whoever his partner happens to be in this movie. So I see that's where this takes place, and I can see the necessity to have a moment that's a little bit more tender and sensual and romantic within a soundtrack. I love this song. I'm gonna use it on my playlist. Not my gym playlist. This is the one I've been eagerly awaiting, The Mantra. Track number 8, Pharrell Williams featuring Kendrick Lamar. Different for Pharrell. Woo! Very N-E-R-D right here. This is N-E-R-D.
My light switch.
Yeah, Kendrick.
My black smell with no license. No license. Big handful. Never been loved.
Yeah.
Better put up. I got a thing for. I wanna fuck free. Fuck it up. Tell you in the deep end. This time my target practice. Never been loved easy.
Yo, that was a dope track. I love the flows on that. Pharrell sounded a little bit like N.E.R.D. That's the first thing that kind of popped into my mind that I had to kind of shout out. And Kendrick's flows on that were nice. I heard some of the flows that you could just hear developing on Damn from last year. You know, his third mainstream release, if you don't include, of course, Untitled Unmastered. But that part where Kendrick's like, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. It sounded so good, it made me crack up, but the flow was just so great. The lyrics were nice. Yeah, the mantra, if it's not worth my time, I don't want that in my face. Don't even bother wasting my time with it. Track number 9, Watching Me. This is Ray Sremmurd featuring Kodak Black. And a little bit of trivia, Ray Sremmurd, for those of you who haven't bothered to notice, it's Ear Drummers Backwards, which is also the name of the label that Mike Will Made It established, which they work under. Woo! That song has so much depth and so much going on. Aside from the fact that the melodies sound amazing, the flows are great, the hook is very catchy, and I like how the beat has some sort of actual chord progression halfway through the hook. Verses were nice, Sremmurd came in, Kodak Black came in. Again, definitely seeing jealousy, envy, a little bit about betrayal. There's so many layers to this one. I really like this song, and I'm going to listen to this continuously. You can tell that this is the low point in the movie, or this is supposed to be the part that's a little bit sad. Kind of like Rocky and Rocky 5, because he had a lot of reasons to be sad in that particular movie. But yeah, dope ass song. Repeat. Track number 10, Fight. There are a whole lot of people on this one. I think you got Eearz, YG, Gucci Mane, Trouble, Quavo, and Juicy J. I hope I didn't miss anyone.
Why do you want to fight?
Yeah.
I get why they want to fight you.
Rocky.
I know what they're fighting for. What about you?
Rocky training him right there.
Fight, fight, fight.
Shit, this one's aggressive as hell.
Focused on the fight, about a quarter past 3. Gucci, who is more neat?
Oh yeah, beat switch right here? What is this?
Kick a hand in the head with these hug boxes. Homie with the homies, you gorilla type. Fuck your push. Bow, bow, bow. Hit him, knock it out your lights. Hit him.
Quavo, sit your ass down with your tight ass clothing. Shirt buttoned down to here.
It's a cold, cold world, no need for AC.
Jeez. Alright man, that's a long ass song, but then again, it is a posse cut. It had its moments definitely, I think towards the beginning and somewhere towards the end where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting into this. But just like my, criticism on Astroworld, I just can't get into songs with hooks like that. When they're repetitive like that and it's supposed to be like this huge cathedral, sort of like people in a venue shouting out together, mosh pit type of thing, it just seems too herd-like for me. And I don't roll that way. I'm just on my own shit, on my own path. And I don't like that sort of mentality. But I love the aggression on this track. It definitely properly symbolizes what's going on in the ring towards the end of a match. This is track number 11 called Running. A$AP Rocky, A$AP Ferg, and Nicki Minaj. It's like Castlevania or some shit?
Think about the mud, where's the dirt of ball man? Going hard, hit him when it hurts, kill him softly.
I'ma take it like a klepto. Anybody wanna get it, come correct though.
Woo!
But when they see me, it's respect though. Still got the crown, so I never give a F though.
Head, neck, in his chest, he gon' catch a fist. I go deck, break his leg, do it effortless. In the ring, ain't no fucking game, ain't no Tetris. It's whole shit, look low, head, kick, fit. Watch it catch a finger.
Yo, that was pretty sick. Some of the flows, especially on the A$AP sides, were a little so-so for me because I'm just so used to them at this point, especially because it reminded me of the track Problems, of course him featuring Kendrick Lamar. But the beat, like I said, that was like Castlevania or something. I was thinking of like Super Nintendo or some shit, or PlayStation, and that kind of symphonic Japanese music and those RPGs, like some crazy shit going on. Soul Calibur 2, I don't know, it sounded beautiful. And Nicki Minaj killed it. Nicki killed it. While her album this year was probably not the most well received by everyone, I think this kind of reinforces things in terms of where I see Nicki. Okay, track 12, this is Tessa Thompson featuring Gunna, and this is called Midnight. Alright, a little bit more R&B. Losing control and it's taking a toll when you're playing a role. Just freestyle over that shit. That was a dope song too. I really liked it. It was a lot more chill, of course, a little bit more intimate like the other track was. Definitely gonna be on my playlist, and again, not the gym playlist. Okay, this is track number 13, Bless Me, Demo by Amalu.
Hit me up. There's a house that I'm burning down. Sorrow, I've been waiting. I'm contemplating all my life. Will that fly away?
Yeah. Alright. Switch that shit up. Yo, I don't know who Ama or Amalu is, but that was pretty good. That moment in the album, as well as Midnight, kind of reminded me of two moments in the 8 Mile soundtrack. There was, of course, that track with Macy Gray, and then there was another track by another female vocalist that was completely different because everything else surrounding it was very hip-hop. But I also know it's kind of a la mode to take songs like that or instrumentals like that and sing over it. I think she had a great voice, dope song. There were moments where the beat switched that I really liked. This is definitely a song I'm going to go back to multiple times, and maybe I'm actually going to start checking for this artist. This is track number 14, Ice Cold, Final Round by Vince Staples. Alright. It's got that monumental music for the final round. Who's gonna win? This is dope. Someone better rap over this. Woo! I recall seeing Vince Staples for the first time in concert at the Gorillaz concert, actually. You know how the Gorillaz, with every album, they sort of collaborate with a different rapper? Well, this particular album ended up being Vince Staples, and oddly enough, the first hour approximately of the concert was just Vince Staples performing. Also, if you watched the Joe Budden podcast and you saw it 2 episodes ago where Vince Staples came on for a call for about like 6-7 minutes, he's fucking hilarious. I see this song as more of a skit, sort of. It's kind of wrapping up the album, not really as a full song. I did like how big and monumental and theatrical it sounded because, you know, someone's gonna be the champion, and I wonder who it is. We made it. We're at the last track. This is track number 15, Love Me Like That. Champion Love by Ella Mai.
One thoughts about me, taking up all your time. I want you in slowly, that you just can't see. Can't keep your hands off of me.
Shit, I ain't singing that part though. Shit. She's confident. Alright, I guess the last track that we get is also another one of those playlist songs. I don't know who Ella Mai is, but she sounded great. And I can say that this is another playlist track. Again, not the gym playlist. The bass on that song sounded great. I love the build up whenever the kick hit. The kick goes, and then all of a sudden you have this drawn out like boom, pop, boom, pop. I want somebody to sample that, by the way. It just sounded really seductive, and it was the type of song that I would like to listen to in certain moods. Overall, I think this was a great soundtrack. It didn't even seem like it was really a soundtrack. It just came off as more of an album, which was the approach that WiLL Made It was taking. There was a star-studded cast, and everyone came together in their own right, you know, treading along the paths that they themselves have carved, standing in their respective corners, and they all just came together and gave us a great performance. Creed, and Rocky for that matter, are classic stories of underdogs overcoming their obstacles and becoming champions. What was great about the people that were chosen to be on this particular project, you had some people who, in my eyes, compared to the star-studded cast, were a little bit more of underdogs. Eearz was on there rapping. You had Lennox, Tessa Thompson, Amalu, Ella Mai. I like the mix of songs that we got on this particular project because you had the hard-hitting ones like Fight, and then you had other slower things like Midnight. It perfectly encompassed the range of emotions and the different points in the movie that we're going to be experiencing. You had the aggressive moments, you had the little bit more of the introspective moments, and then you had the more romantic moments. Let's not forget the triumphant ones as well. While there were a couple tracks on here that I wish would have been a little bit different, one of them in particular is the Nicki Minaj, A$AP Rocky, and A$AP Ferg track. I think it was called Runnin. The penultimate track from Vince Staples, I feel like that one could have rocked on a little bit longer, or we could have had a little bit more material from Vince himself. However, WiLL Made It managed to do a great job of making a very consistent and cohesive project. He did his thing with the production. He did very well with sequencing this project, and he accomplished exactly what he set out to do. There were a few tracks on this that I'm definitely gonna revisit, a few that are definitely gonna be on my playlist for the gym, and then there were the few slower songs that I'm definitely gonna have on my other playlist as well. The range of artists was quite diverse, different styles, and I like WiLL Made It's statement about people should expect the soundtrack to be back. I agree. Superfly this past year had a great soundtrack. So did Black Panther, of course, helmed by Kendrick Lamar. So it seems like studio execs are cueing in and cluing into the fact that hip-hop / rap right now is the style du jour. So this is the type of music that is pop and popular, well, a particular subsection of it. So they should start capitalizing on that and have that kind of music on the soundtracks, because that is what people are looking for. Creed 2 accomplishes exactly that. So shout outs and congratulations to WiLL Made It to making a pretty dope soundtrack / album. Anyway, YouTube, this has been your boy Bearded Kingface, aka Essential. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so my videos end up in your feed. Like, comment, what should I review next? And until next time, peace.